The wind moved softly across the open-air market that morning, sunlight pouring down in wide, bright streaks, washing everything in daytime gold. People wandered past stalls filled with fresh vegetables and handmade crafts, but nothing in that peaceful scene hinted at the moment that would change a struggling father's life forever. It happened in a heartbeat. His little daughter, barely 7, with curly hair bouncing on her shoulders, suddenly let go of his hand and ran toward a woman standing at the edge of the crowd. The woman wore a crisp white coat, her dark hair tied loosely back, her posture graceful yet carrying an invisible weight. Before he could react, the little girl wrapped her arms around the stranger's waist as if she had known her forever. The father froze, panic striking him like lightning, and he rushed forward to pull his daughter away, unaware that the woman she hugged was a billionaire CEO whose life was lonelier than anyone could imagine. If you believe in kindness, unexpected blessings, and second chances, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Midnight Reports to help us keep telling stories that touch the heart. That father's name was Rayhan Ward, a man whose eyes carried a permanent mix of exhaustion and stubborn determination. He worked 2 part-time jobs, loading crates in a warehouse at dawn and repairing old electrical appliances in a rented workshop by noon. Every coin he earned went toward keeping a roof over the head of his daughter Ariel, who had inherited her late mother's boundless warmth. Rayhan often worried that he wasn't giving her enough: a small apartment, worn-out shoes, hand-me-down notebooks, but he gave her what mattered: love, patience, and every spare moment he could manage. Still, life for him was a constant storm to navigate, one bill away from disaster. That morning, Rayhan had taken Ariel to the market to buy discounted groceries. Ariel, as always, seemed fascinated by everything: the birds perched on wires, the colorful fruits, the people laughing, but what caught her attention was the woman standing alone near a flower stall, staring at a bouquet as though she didn't know how to reach for it. Her name was Celestine Aurora, though few ever called her by her first name. To the world, she was Miss Aurora, the youngest billionaire CEO in the tech sector, a phenomenon of success. Yet behind her achievements rested a private life marked by silence and emptiness, the type of loneliness that wealth could never cure. She had grown up without warmth, raised by strict tutors and business-driven relatives. She had never known the feeling of a child's spontaneous affection, and she never expected to. When Ariel hugged her, Celestine's breath caught. She froze, unable to understand why a child would choose her, of all people, to embrace. Rayhan reached them at once, apologizing breathlessly as he lifted Ariel away. He expected anger or at least annoyance, but Celestine only blinked in stunned astonishment. Rayhan gave a tired half-bow and moved quickly to leave, embarrassed, desperate to not bother someone who clearly belonged to a different world. But as he walked away, he didn't see the way Celestine kept watching them, her fingers trembling as she touched the place where the child's tiny arms had wrapped around her. Fate, however, has its own quiet persistence. Later that day, Rayhan's workshop was unusually busy. He was soldering a loose circuit when someone stepped into the doorway. At first, he didn't look up. Customers came and went often. But when he heard a soft voice asking if he could fix a small digital device, he raised his eyes and nearly dropped his tools. It was the same woman from the market. Celestine, dressed simply now in a sky blue blouse and black slacks, held out a sleek tablet that flickered in and out of power. She asked if he had time to look at it. Rayhan nodded quickly, trying to hide his confusion. He didn't realize she had followed the imprint of Ariel's hug all the way to this humble workshop. As he worked, Ariel sat nearby coloring with broken crayons, occasionally glancing up with her usual bright curiosity. Celestine found herself unable to look away from the child. There was something magnetic about the innocence in her eyes, something healing. As minutes passed, Celestine began to notice little details: how Rayhan's hands moved with precise skill despite visible fatigue, how he cracked gentle jokes to keep his daughter entertained, how the workshop, though old, felt warm, real, lived in. When he fixed her device and refused extra payment, insisting the job was small, something softened inside her. She hadn't met many people who acted out of pure sincerity without expectation. It stirred emotions she didn't know how to name. Over the next few days, Celestine kept finding reasons to return, sometimes with a malfunctioning gadget, sometimes with fresh tea for Ariel, and eventually with nothing more than the desire to be near the rare warmth she found there. Each visit felt like sunlight breaking through clouded windows, and little by little, the invisible tension between Rayhan and Celestine began to fade. Rayhan remained hesitant. Life had taught him to distrust miracles, but Ariel adored Celestine instantly. The woman who once felt unreachable slowly became a part of their small world. Trouble arrived, however, as it does in every story worth telling. Rayhan's warehouse job cut staff without warning. Overnight, his income collapsed. Bills piled up, and anxiety clawed at him like a shadow stalking every step. He considered selling the workshop tools, even thought of taking Ariel out of her after-school program. He tried to hide his struggles from Celestine, refusing any offer that even hinted at help. Pride was the anchor he refused to let go of, perhaps the only dignity he still believed he possessed. But Celestine, accustomed to reading people deeply in silence, saw through him. One afternoon, she visited the workshop and found him staring at an overdue electricity bill with his shoulders shaking. He hid the paper instantly, pretending nothing was wrong. She did not push. Instead, she helped Ariel tidy the workspace, quietly offering her presence without expectation. That evening, when she left, her heart felt both heavy and fiercely determined. The next morning, before Rayhan opened his workshop, a representative from a major tech company visited him with a proposal. They wanted to purchase his appliance repair concept and hire him as head technician for a new service program. The offer was generous, far beyond anything he could imagine. At first, Rayhan refused outright, believing it must be a mistake. But when he learned the proposal came directly from Celestine's company, his heart stopped. He confronted her gently the next time she visited, but she only smiled faintly and said that kindness should never be a burden. She added that Ariel had given her something priceless, a reminder of what human connection felt like. The opportunity she offered wasn't charity, it was a partnership, a belief in his skill and sincerity. Rayhan's eyes filled with quiet tears he tried to hide, but Celestine understood. Some gratitude speaks without words. Their lives slowly intertwined after that day. Rayhan began his new work, transforming his life piece by piece. Celestine visited often, no longer a distant figure but someone who found joy sitting on the floor with Ariel, helping her build tiny cardboard inventions. The sunlight in their lives grew warmer, brighter, more hopeful.